Welcome back to Desperation Point. We're on session 27. Today is Cinco de Mayo, which means Tim Cloron is away celebrating with his family. But we're going to continue playing. He may join us tonight in person. We're hoping he'll come about mid-break, but it's a pretty important holiday for him and his family, so he will be away probably tonight. But we decided to play anyway because game ain't over yet, and we got a lot ahead of us. So I think to get us started, we can go ahead and we'll go ahead and do our let's start with our coin rolls. So I've got one, and let's see what everybody else has.
There's a 5.
Oh, sweet.
I rolled a 5.
5 as well. Jeez.
Nice.
I'm pulling a Ben. Okay, 3.
Keep dropping it.
Okay.
Keep rolling off the table. Yeah.
Ah! Okay, so we got
Not a
three,
game till that happens.
3 points for players. I'll put them here in front of Nick.
Okay.
He'll be coin king.
Coin King.
Coin king.
King of the coins. King of the coins.
A king of the coins. You, David. Sorry, I'm thinking of Schitt's Creek. So let's do initiative now. What do we got? What do we got?
Pretty good.
Turn some music on to get us going. Da-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na.
12.
Creepy. 12.
16.
Nice.
Same.
Nice.
Did
I
you
think,
roll low?
I rolled a 5.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that Keegan has the lead.
I would assume.
Yeah, Keegan. We know Keegan wins ties.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to fight my urge to like turn toward look at the screen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at the camera. It's like a muscle memory that I think I've built up, and because I'm sitting differently than Nick, he's sitting across from me today. It's a little weird.
Here soon.
Oh yeah.
We'll be able to just look at each other.
Yeah, real quickly, where is everybody on their countdown for COVID?
1 day.
1 day?
Mhm.
Wow,
I just got my second today.
sweet. How you feeling?
I feel all right.
Good.
I'll let you know if that goes anywhere different. But
What about
Yeah.
you?
so I'm just like,
12 days.
12 days. 12 days of COVID. I got my second.
Hopefully not. Good Lord. That
right. No one wants 12 days ago.
So, Adam, when are you planning to return?
Definitely when Jen is fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks from Sunday. But the way I figure it is like, might as well, if it's a week, might as well just wait until Mike is,
Right.
safe. And then,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean,
Or
it's
you
1
can-
week.
1 week.
Yeah. And then we have to figure out who's driving. And
So
I'll drive first because when
Adam's got a new car.
when the pandemic first came about, I didn't have a car, so
Yeah.
I should definitely drive first because
Okay.
you drove last.
You need your practice again. Like,
No, we go off of who drove last, and he drove last.
I guess I would have drove last. Yes.
I've been postponing buying a new car because I don't go anywhere.
right now they're buying cars for really cheap because nobody's selling them.
That's
So
funny.
they're buying cars at like really high prices.
Really?
Yep, they don't have used inventory. That's what my dealer said. So
Interesting.
there you go, everybody. Life tip: sell your
There's-
car and your house right now.
Yeah,
Seriously.
it's definitely a seller's market.
So, do you think we would want to plan then for the 19th to return in person? That's 2 weeks from now.
It's up to Mike.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Cool. So May 19th.
Yeah, because
What are we catering in?
That's right. We'll figure that out next week.
A bucket of chicken Caesar salad.
I have to see when Jason's gonna be able to make it again.
Oh yeah.
So to be clear,
Too bad.
won't be swapping to Desperation Flavor to Queen of Ember's fourth bit.
Oh,
We're
okay.
we're going to have a conversation off camera about this because we may have 2 new players,
Desperation of members.
potentially even 3 players joining the game.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you off camera, but we've got an influx of people who've been apparently wanting to play in our game for a while who have never played with us.
Oh,
9 people around the table. You're
You got this.
insane, Dan.
We'll see what happens.
We'll do
talk about
staggered
it.
seating. Like you
But
sit
the
at the
peop-
table when it's your turn.
Yeah. But we're looking
Yeah.
at Sarah and then Sonia, who I don't think anyone's around the table has met Sonia, but we'll talk about that later. Let's actually start playing. We have all initiative determined. We've got
Uh-huh.
coin pools determined. Let's talk about what happened last week on session 26 of Desperation Point. Tim is not here, unfortunately, but we should still pick up from what happened from there. What happened? So you definitely made it back to Sentinel Pines, and that's kind of where we picked up the game.
So we kind of did a somewhat of a round of introductions with Tim's character, who had somewhat of a mild case of memory loss, from what we could tell. Been through quite a lot, so it made sense. His new character is Chauncey Redding.
A former player character from
Mm-hmm.
6 actual years ago, 7.
Yeah.
At least 7.
Yeah. So we kind of went through a process involving, getting him back up to speed with what the storyline thus far had gone. And then we finally landed on what our next steps was, which was to track down Otrig and Otrig's rival, whose name was
Spite.
Thank you.
Spike. Right, which would take you really deep into Guarhoth.
Mm-hmm.
At the furthest north the game has ever been, but actually, yes, the furthest north the game has ever been, or back to somewhere we even this gaming group has not ever been to. Take you all the way from the pass into Guarhoth, then from Guarhoth to Dunmodra, before the foot of the Andals Bridge, which is where the Eridane. It's the first place the Eridane came after they came to this continent in the Second Age. And then from the Andals Bridge, you'll find your way to the Black Hinge. And leading the way is a Pictish woman, Annika, and her husband, Dane. Because remember, Guarhoth is the home of the Pictish people. So, I mean, the Pictish at this point have always been kind of in the periphery of the game. They've kind of come up as enemies, or they've been seen in other games. We never had a player character as a Pict, I don't think. And now we actually have a Pict in the party. So we'll be going to their homeland beyond the Horned Society. So yeah, everybody gets 50 reward points.
We
Did we cover everything?
did not cover.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh, that's right. Gosh, you're right.
Then it was adventures in trying to become a Pokemon master.
Yes.
Gotta
I
catch
want to
'em
be
all,
the very
Pokemon.
best that no one ever was.
So we went off with Osbert and I'm gonna change my Shug Keegan.
Oh, yeah, I gotta change my
It's a
name.
very arduous territory.
Yeah.
It was like a
and-
winter cenote. Frozen.
Yeah, we went off to go and try and get what I'm assuming is a bald eagle, but a very, very large bird. And so we came across this cave wall that we had to climb up, and thankfully, because someone thought to grab crampons and rope,
Yay,
Uh,
Keegan.
yeah,
Feel that one, Keegan.
it made it a little bit easier. And
But remember, you had to pass through the glacier too to get there.
oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had to squeeze through, and
Through an
The-
opening.
yeah, it just squeeze on by opening. So we climbed up, and two of us made it up there, and it was really dangerous looking, and so we thought, why make Keegan risk his own life? Because we're just going to go up and fetch one of those birds, right? It'll be no problem. And well, we were noticed by one of the adult eagles, and
Yeah. Yikes.
Osbert got the wrong end of the talon, but he pushed through, and we were able to get the eagle down on the ground, and I was able to put a hood over it through the use of a coin, just manifesting a hood and putting that over the bird so that it can't see and it calms down.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so that's pretty much where we left it, where Osbert is still potentially bleeding out. It's a good thing I've got a bandage on me, but
Oh, he's no longer
meanwhile-
injured.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Remember the cloak?
That was revert.
Oh, yeah. Okay, but the whole time Keegan's sitting down there like, there's trouble. I heard a gunshot and you told me to stay. So
Yeah, you were in blinding light. It's funny regarding the eagle. So first off, 50 reward points for everybody. You do have so you have the stats now for the eagle from Flames of Freedom,
Yeah.
which is basically a snow eagle, we will call it.
Okay.
A snow-crested eagle. How about that?
Smeagol?
okay.
Which has its plumage is grayish white, and then its cap over its head with these feathers that kind of they're so white they're almost blue on the undersides of it, because they're kind of purplish from the feather, whatever the piece of cartilage that runs through the feather itself has some kind of blue tinge, so it kind of resembles the surrounding ice. And you, of course, we're up here, and it's blinding light where this nest is. But yeah, you have an adult snow-crested eagle at this point in your Pokeball, Collinsburg.
Nice. All right. So
We'll kind of assume that you'll be able to get down without trouble.
okay.
If only to expedite your way back to Keegan. And remember, he is at the bottom of this deep cavern. You imagine like those caverns like in South America that have collapsed inward and have their own sort of ecosystem inside of it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Some Keegan, where you're at, you can see, of course, they call that the rock, that the flow rock, whatever it's called, where you came through the fissure, you came down into here, and they descended up to these using these crampons and old ropes and spikes that had already been driven into the stone, coincidentally. And you found a mess of bones at the bottom, if you recall. Like one body that had been so desiccated, it's just bones at this point. Another that was kind of fresher, that's been partially preserved in the cold. And they descend down the rope, coming down with this massive eagle. And obviously you have the eagle stats now. Eagles, man. To reference the eagle from Flames of Freedom. I think did I send that to you, or do you already have it?
I have it.
Okay,
I took it from the PDF.
that's right. So quick point of clarification regarding airborne creatures. This is important to note. This actually came up in Discord. Irene DB brought it up. The question was, how do you treat flying creatures? And the answer is, a flying creature cannot attack while airborne unless it charges.
Mhm.
And it will make an opportunity attack during its movement and continue its movement. So
Okay.
as an example, the eagle has a 15 fly value. So to charge, it may go, remember, you need to charge, you need to go a certain number of yards if you want to get the bonus, but nonetheless, say it could fly, it could technically charge up to 30 yards, right? So it could go 10 yards, opportunity attack with beak and claws, and continue onward for the remainder of its distance if it wanted to. And it's the only way that an eagle can attack. But keep in mind, and this is not really explained well in the rules because flight is not necessarily something that's baked into Zweihander in general. An eagle can't just simply turn around and charge and charge and charge and charge back and forth. You'll need to spend an action point to turn.
Okay.
So I would just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And obviously, because we're working in a three-dimensional plane, and Mike's kind of already accustomed to this, but we just have to be careful about how we treat this. But nonetheless, yeah, you've got your eagle stats. So
I have a couple questions regarding the ruling.
Yep.
So
it's not a ruling; it's a rule. But
or a rule, yes. Okay.
Yep.
So the eagle is flying in the middle of its movement. It makes a counter attack.
Yes, it makes a counter attack.
Okay, so counterattack is a reaction, and you cannot do things like aim or.
That's right.
You can't do things like
Can't parry or can't defend.
cannot defend.
That's right.
You cannot fire through covers. Doesn't really make sense, but you can't do rough and tumble.
That's right.
Okay.
It's opportunity attack. And I should also note too, one caveat to that as well is that flying creatures do not provoke a counterattack when they charge in that manner.
So even if you have a weapon with reach,
Correct.
it doesn't provoke.
Right. That's right.
Because of the flying type.
Because it is an airborne creature. It does not provoke. Let's actually take a look. Let's know what. Let's do this. Let's take a look at Flames of Freedom.
Okay.
Let's look at the rules specifically for flight, because I think this is actually brought forward into the combat chapter for Flames of Freedom. This will be a good exercise for us. So whereas looking at Zweihander rules earlier this week. Okay. Here's what it says about flying foes. Unless you are at the same altitude as a foe in flight, being on its back, having climbed onto it, the foe cannot be targeted with melee weapons or rough and tumble. Makes sense. Anytime that a flying foe is made to bleed or suffers an injury, they must succeed a toughness test or be forced to the ground prone. If you want to bring a flying foe down, make an athletics or ride test opposed. If you want to jump on the back of it as an example. So this is interesting because I had forgotten that I actually removed that whole continue flying opportunity attack thing in Flames of Freedom to vastly simplify the use.
Yeah, because it was definitely that way in Zweihander, where you would move, make your attack partway through, and then continue your movement.
So I think what we'll do. So let's ignore what I said before. Let's follow Flames of Freedom. So you would hustle, fly, basically. You'd fly, you make your attack, like you'd fly X number of yards, you'd make your attack. It's assuming you're still in the air, right? And then you can continue your movement if you want to, but you would provoke an opportunity attack.
If you continued moving.
If you continue moving.
Okay.
So the question is, this is what we need to figure out, is that if a creature is in flight, so it hustles, it attacks, and its turn is over, is the assumption that it stays in the air, or is the assumption that it's on the ground?
I would say the assumption is that it is in the air, but it is within range. Like if it stops there.
That's right.
Because like when a bird of prey is coming down, sometimes, I'm not that much of an expert on this part. I've only ever held them, but sometimes the pictures I see, they're actually like spread out like this and their feet are forward. And so I would say that they could flap their wings and stay. I don't know though.
Just to clarify, unless you are at the same altitude as a foe in flight, it cannot be targeted with melee weapons or rough and tumble. So if you fly and attack, they're technically at the same altitude, even though the thing may be hovering off the ground,
right,
3 yards or whatever it may be, or 1 yard. So let's just keep that in mind. And remember that if the assumption is that it's hovering 1 yard, if it gets knocked prone, it will suffer falling damage.
Mhm.
If that's the case. So that's
Yeah.
the caveat. So the question is, just to rephrase this, is that do we want the flying eagle to fly and attack and now it's on the ground, or do we want it to fly and attack and it's still in the air, and if it gets knocked prone, it suffers falling damage? Because that'd be 1 + 1d10 yards, or 1 + 1d10 damage. Because if you fall 1 yard, it's 1d10 plus 1. 1d10 plus 1 damage per yard.
Would it be possible to make him choose? Like
That's too confusing. That's too confusing. I think we need to rule it one way or the other. Because I'll forget and you'll forget, and then it'll be confusing. I think we just need to make a general rule.
Well, I would say unless specified specifically, which could also take extra action points or whatnot, that
Sure.
they would still be in the air.
Sure. Yeah.
I have another question.
Yes.
Hypothetical, if I were fighting a flying creature,
Mhm.
would it be possible for me to hold my action until the creature was in range and attack it?
If you waited,
If
absolutely.
I waited. Okay. Okay.
Absolutely.
So would that interrupt the creature before it was able to attack?
Great question.
If,
So
if I had a reach weapon.
we've got it. Well, we've got an answer for that. So we need to look at weight. You ought not to attack, holding all APs in reserve to act later. You must act before your next turn begins. You cannot take 2 turns back to back. If you want to interrupt a turn, you have to spend a coin.
Okay.
Yep. So that's
Yes.
what you'd have to do.
Yes. Okay.
To clarify about reach, would you attack it before it reaches you? Sure. But let's clarify reach from the perspective of Plants of Freedom, just so we're all on the same page. Whenever a foe charges or runs to engage or disengages, you make a counterattack with this weapon.
Mhm.
So if Adam plays it smart, he will hustle, not charge. Unless he really wants that additional damage. Because remember, an eagle does 2d6 plus
Already.
6 damage.
Yeah.
And it has the sweeping quality, which is nice because sweeping quality allows them to knock foes prone. Yep. So
Yeah.
sweeping says specifically after hitting a foe with this weapon, but before damage is dealt, they must resist using coordination or be knocked prone. When they resist, they flip to fail. So the bet, like if we were to sit here and optimize it, if we're gonna put on my mic hat for a second, I would want my eagle to at the beginning. So we have to assume, just for sake of clarity, this eagle is not in flight at the beginning of combat. It's somewhere near where Adam's at, and Adam will quote swap places. Or sorry, Collinsworth will swap places with the eagle, and the eagle will be on the ground. Right? We'd agreed that way we kind of worked. This is like we swap Collinsworth out for the creature that he's tamed and he's fighting with, and Collinsworth quote disappears.
Yeah.
for
I'll jump
taking-
first.
That's right. It's like the Lancer ability.
Yeah.
Tactics. But he disappears. Animal appears as the animal tamer, right? So what happens after that is we assume that the eagle's on the ground, so it has to fly. It has to pick itself up off the ground. So you'll say, all right, I'm gonna go 5 yards up in the air, and then I'm gonna move the remainder of my movement 10 yards to hustle, and then I'll terminate the end of the movement with my melee attack.
And I assume we're not going to get crazy with the Pythagorean theorem and all this stuff when it comes to eagle movement.
We will not, and we've dealt with some of this with Calvin already. The difference, though, for Calvin is that Calvin has to roll coordination tests. It's baked into the spell.
Mhm.
For flight, this is what Adam will have to deal with. Is like not only does it have the opportunity, not only does it have the broken wings drawback, which is you're grievously wounded, crash, you hit the ground, but he also has to contend with the suffers an injury or made to bleed. Sorry, let me clarify real quick. Yeah, if it suffers an injury or made to bleed, it must succeed to subpossess or be forced to the ground and knocked prone, suffering falling damage.
Take these broken wings.
But trust me, I'm gonna have somebody crawl up in the back of that damn eagle and try to take it down. with an opposed test. But to be fair, the opposed test, they had to beat you by 3 times your BB. So it's going to be tough. Nonetheless, because I mean, it's the whole thing of like, how do you treat taking down a dragon in flight? Well, use ranged weapons or magic, but we want to invoke the, it's like we want to do Shadow of the Colossus style takedowns, right? So, yeah. So I hope that clarifies some of the flight stuff. I think with Mike it's a little simpler, but
Thanks for being our bird law
even
expert.
although
Yeah.
I will there's another point of clarification here. Mike can also be brought down through a bleed or an injury too, if he's attacked while on broomback, because it's all flying, quote, all flying creatures, foes, however you want to qualify it. Anybody in flight has to deal with that. So Mike can move fast.
Yeah.
He can cast spells from the back of his broom.
Broom back mountain.
My only remaining question is, okay, so I understand that, you use your movement however you choose to move. You attack and you can stay there, but is there still an option to keep using your movement even though you'll suffer an opportunity, a counterattack?
Yeah, you just hustle again. You wouldn't use the
Okay,
same.
so
You hustle again. So
right, so I would have to use another AP.
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. In fact, I recall now. I remember the reasoning why that was changed, is because it does get confusing. Or it can be.
So the eagle can use rough and tumble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Eagle can do a hustle, but a target is.
Could they do a charge rough and tumble? It has to be a hustle rough and tumble.
No, you can always charge her for a rough and tumble. You just don't get the benefits of the damage.
Okay, guys.
I mean, you're only getting a +10. You might as well just remember the charge is 2 AP,
Right.
so it doesn't really benefit you. It actually makes more sense to hustle, take aim, melee attack.
Yeah, the only reason I would do that is if for some reason I didn't feel like I could make that roll, or if I needed the distance, then I get a little bonus.
And I think it's important to remember too that an eagle's weapons are weak. So we're still dealing with the reality that the eagle has talons and people have real damn weapons, which makes like parrying easier just in general. So just keep that in mind. There's that whole thing. Does that help clarify everything about the eagle?
Yeah.
Mike Eagle?
So I'm noticing at least here that reach is not a quality. It's just baked into the distance of the weapon.
No, reach is a quality. If you look on page 176, you'll see it.
I'm sorry, for this specific eagle.
The beacon talons.
That
Well,
is correct because of its size. So it
Yeah.
can't attack from 1 yard away because it's
Right.
massive. They're
Right,
big.
right.
Yeah.
But just with this specific eagle, it doesn't have the reach
That's-
quality. So it has
that's
the
correct.
distance of reach, but it doesn't.
That's
Yeah,
correct. And you'll find what you're going to find in Flames of Freedom, unlike Zweihander, is that large creatures add 1 yard to distance, and huge creatures add 2.
Okay.
Normalized across the board.
So there's
Yeah.
reach and big reach.
Well, there's reach, and then there's no need to actually put a quality in there because we don't want that eagle to suddenly make counterattacks just because it had just for distance. So that's why it's done that way.
Yeah.
You have the same range as a bayonet. it's the when you fight huge creatures like the Kraken, or the journalist. Not journalist. No. Okay, so any final questions about that?
No.
Okay. I'll assume that you know the traits and trust and rely on you to deliver. So back to where we left off. Keegan, they ascend down the side of the water, the ice flow, into this cavern with this massive eagle in tow. And of course it's hooded and it has a lash, so to speak, near it. But this eagle's massive. Like it's not like imagine like beastmaster with like a falcon or something like that. It's like this eagle is
It's as big as
probably-
us.
it's about 4 feet at its crest.
Yeah.
It's larger than a large child. It's a small boulder the size, a large boulder the size of a small boulder. If you're following the whole meme thing on Twitter, this is a large boulder the size of a large boulder. It's a big eagle. It's got a wingspan of about probably like 9 feet. Huge. So you all join together once again, and you squeeze back through the glacier, and you descend down the mountainside back to your encampment, where I believe Osbert and Chauncey and Calvin were.
No, I was with Collinsworth.
Yeah, so to clarify, back at the camp is Chauncey
Mhm.
and Calvin and the others.
Dane and the others, yeah.
Dane and Annika.
Right.
And Abigail.
Yes.
Annika gives the finger motion, the Big Trouble in Little China thing when you bring back the eagle.
I thought you were gonna give her like finger shoots.
The
Like,
double pistols.
Double.
Yeah, double.
I look quizzically and I give it in response.
Sure, why not? So yeah, you return back to this snowbound camp where it is cold, very cold, and you'd woken this day, and you know that you were at the very crest of the pass. It's only a day from here until you're actually in the land of Guarhov. Like if you keep pounding the run button, you'll eventually get experience points by discovering Guarhov and
Mhm.
Nice.
Welcome to or Dark Souls. Like from here, you can already see where down in the valley beyond the tall, misty mountains of the Horned Society, you can see a very thick, untouched wilderness of soaring pine trees. Not unlike those of Sentinel Pine, but there is this it's a sense of foreboding into going into one of the most called hallowed by any means, but perhaps one of the most fabled places where all boogeymen from Eridane folklore come from, into the lands of Guarhov, a word that Anshka explains as meaning the land of the dead. By the dead, she means the dead who have been frozen to death. There's like a long word, kind of a long phrase she spits out. That's the most literal translation of what Guarhov means.
Collinsworth has it.
We had set up camp, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
Collinsworth just kind of gets a chill to his spine.
Yeah, that's
Well-
5 from now, she says. By tomorrow morning, by the nightfall, we shall arrive, she says.
Nice.
Oh, it's the next morning. Okay.
Yeah, it's morning. When
Okay.
you struck out on this foray to find the Snow-Crested Eagle.
So, would we? I've had a chance to have my wounds treated the previous evening.
No,
Okay.
we'd already done that.
Oh, we
before it
did.
struck out. Yes, we'd already resolved all. We'd already any wound
Well-
treatment that had happened would have happened last game, and if we didn't do it, it didn't happen.
Okay.
Right.
But your peril is where it's at. Your damage is where it's at. Everyone's at where they're at.
Okay.
So let's do a quick assessment around the table. Where's everybody at?
I am.
Previously wounded.
That's right. Yeah, 'cause remember, we literally stopped right as you got the eagle, so there
Mhm.
would have been no healing yet.
Mhm.
Right?
Moderately wounded.
What about Keegan?
Armed and confused at the bottom of a cliff during the whole thing. So he's fine.
Yeah. What about Calvin?
So Calvin's not hurt, but he was suffering from ignoring 3 skill ranks.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you guys had. It was very, very cold. I
Frostbitten.
remember that. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
tough in here. You had actually not finished making camp yet. You just want to make camp for the rest of the day until the following morning.
I think so, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. It is cold up here, and it makes the day difficult to bear. Yes.
I do want to cast my new spell.
Oh, nice. Let's talk about that spell. For just a reminder for everybody, what's the name of the spell?
It's Fire's Touch, I believe. Let me pull it back up.
Fire's Warmth, is that right?
Or Fire's, is it Fire's Warmth or Fire's? Yeah, it's Fire's Warmth. Okay.
Yeah.
It was Fire's something.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but my computer searches this PDF so slowly.
Yeah. Keep in mind, it only has a duration of 6 plus WB hours. In your camp.
Right. So that's 8 hours. So my 6 is 14. So it would get us through the night.
Yeah.
You know, if we plan on staying down.
That's right.
So that way at least we can rest a little bit better before we head out. That's the plan.
Teeth are chattering. So go ahead and if you're gonna cast Fire's Warmth, explain what happens. What do they say?
All right. So you see that Calvin kind of takes one of the coals out of the fire and actually kind of like quenches it in the snow that's nearby to where it's still warm, but it's not like on fire. And he actually like kind of starts breaking it down and kind of like puts it in his palm of his hand and starts like smearing it around. And he explains to them what he's doing, that there's a kind of a spell, or he'll call it a ritual, to make people finally feel better about it. But there's a ritual where you take a piece of charcoal and I can mark like your forehead, and it will provide you the warmth of the fire, even though, you know, you're not, maybe there won't be one nearby. So
Ash Wednesday.
yeah, basically. So it's the fire's warmth. And so I will do it to, I think it's up to my willpower bonus, which I believe is everyone.
Yeah.
So I will go ahead and do it to anyone. If anyone refuses, it's fine by me. They can sleep cold. But
Yeah. You can pretty much cover everybody. What's your WB?
8.
Nice. Yeah. So it's takes 9 minutes to cast. So teeth of chatter, and you cast your spell. It's going to be a standard test.
All right.
You want to risk any backlash?
I will not, because I'm already ignoring skill ranks. So I mean, I don't want to get like incapacitated.
Oh yeah.
So all right. So we got ourselves a 49 and a 75. Does not make it. Should I re-roll for you? Yeah,
I'll take the coin if you don't want it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna re-roll. Yeah, we got like a 50% chance here, right, guys? All right, that's an 88 critical failure.
Nice.
So everybody suffers 2d10 plus 2 peril
That's the best.
every hour. I think, Calvin, you may be incapacitated from this.
We'll see. I mean, you generally do roll rocks, so
yeah. So everybody on the first hour, the spell not only does it not work, you get colder. You feel like just the bitterness of the cold.
Which is fair. I mean, I kind of rushed learning the spell.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense narratively. Yeah, the critical failure impact for Fire's Warmth is pretty severe. So that first hour, everybody, it's like last week, 17 peril.
Yeah, okay.
Chatter, teeth. Oh.
So if it meets, then I don't go, like my second one is 17, so I don't,
That's right,
I only take 1, right?
That's right.
Now this is physical peril, so my
It's
one
just
thing doesn't
peril.
work. So I am
peril. It's magical peril, technically, to be fair.
right. So because I have I have a trait that with mental peril I take 1 less step, but that's not this. So I am now incapacitated.
Oh no, 6 conflict shit. Well, second hour, it gets colder and colder. Oh, wow, I'm rolling the same thing as last week. 20 peril for the second hour.
I'm incapacitated.
I'm still
Oh,
incapacitated. Do I take another 6?
Well, unfortunately, remember what happens when you are reaching incapacitated in cold weather,
Oh yeah.
that there becomes chances for frostbite.
Oh yeah.
And we still have 9 hours to resolve. So
yeah.
we'll assume, so Keegan, you suffer 6 conflict. And at this point, you and Calvin are now suffering from frostbite. Your fingertips are cold. It's really cold, in fact. And unless you do something about this, you are in dire straits. Oh, man.
Your ritual
Gosh.
doesn't seem to be working. Let's light a real fire.
So, Keegan, as you look to your extremities and Calvin's, there is a sudden realization that you're going to have to do something about this, or else you're going to lose fingers and toes.
All right. I guess I will attempt. Sorry, I'm getting to that point. I was trying to. I couldn't remember the name of the treatment. Debridement.
Debridement, yeah, it's on page 251. And if you're incapacitated, you can't succeed.
Right.
So fail. So we're dead.
Unless you have smelling salts.
I
Or
do.
sorry. Yeah, you use smelling salts.
If I'm incapacitated, can I use smelling salts?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
require a test.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you take the smelling salts and you break the ampule, and suddenly you're back to you move one step up the peril condition track.
Okay.
Which is good.
All right. I guess I'll try debridement. First,
You do-
obviously, on Calvin.
Okay. So you do gain 1 conflict for that, by the way. And you're going to attempt to use debridement on Calvin.
Yeah, he's
Ooh,
not gonna use it on himself first.
On yourself?
No, I
What-
said he wouldn't. Come
Yeah.
on now.
It's not like I can do it on myself.
Fair point. So, what do we see? Like, what if we were watching a movie? What is happening?
I don't actually even know what the hell debridement is, if I'm honest.
Yeah. So,
It
Debridement
just tells
would
you
be-
what it needs. It doesn't tell you
Yeah.
what it is.
immersing somebody in water, scraping away bad flesh, trying to get them warm. Debridement is what they typically do to get away like bad flesh. It's basically cutting away the flesh.
So
Yeah.
that's what you would probably see is Keegan with his teeth chattering and everything, and his hands freezing over, and his skin slightly tinted blue. He's looking at Calvin, and instead of trying to do anything about himself, he just kind of, all right, and then just goes to work, I guess, because that's all he can do right now.
There. Treat yourself first. You're not going to be good with your hands shaking like that.
He stops for a moment at what he was about to do, and if you say so,
I do
I
say
guess.
so.
All right. So as I'm told, we'll kick in.
Nice. Do you want to take advantage of your reflection during this time?
Taking. That's what I said. As I'm told, that's my
so remember,
disorder.
you gain 3 conflict for that.
Yep.
Racking it up. Okay. What's your current damage condition track?
I got 9 more hours. I'm most likely dead. So let's go with all of the conflict. Anyways, my damage condition track is unharmed.
Nice. So we'll treat it as if you were hurt, because remember,
Unless
physician heal thyself, your chances always go down by -10. So it's going to be a
Okay.
routine heal test.
routine
yourself.
heal. Okay. Well, I'm ignoring all of. I'm ignoring all my skill ranks, obviously, because I don't have 4.
Oh, no.
And we'll go with 54 on my heal.
Oh no.
So I got a 42, but it actually succeeds without even doing any of the assist dice that I have
Nice.
for as I'm told.
Nice.
Actually, let me try the assist dice. Let's
Yeah,
just
maybe
see
you
if
go
I can get a crit. Nope. All right. 42 works. 62 and 82 do not.
Okay. So well, the good thing is you're no longer suffering from frostbite. Unfortunately, ironically, Frosty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Mike. Calvin is suffering from this. So, do you want to go to work on him?
I do have smelling salts if somebody else wanted to, I don't know, pull them from my pouch. Just saying.
Collinsworth will go forward and search his pouch. How many do you have?
18.
Okay.
Because I was like, use them.
Collinsworth will administer one to Calvin,
Sure.
and then he'll administer one to himself, and then he'll, see if anyone else wants one.
Remember, every time you take smelling salt, it's one conflict.
That's
thank you.
Right.
the best.
I'll tough it out.
Oh, and it does cost a bit.
Yeah, you will.
Trying to do inventory management. All right, and used a bandage for my debridement. So I scraped all of the skin off of my fingers and I started flexing them because I can actually use them again at this point.
Now that you got yourself sorted out, into Calvin.
How many bandages do you have left?
12.
Nice. Okay, you may need all 12 of them.
I
Uh,
very well
oh,
could.
gosh. This is the bad thing about traveling in wilderness is once you get incapacitated, it becomes very difficult to avoid extreme weather. So, so Calvin, what's your current damage condition track?
Oh, I'm unharmed.
Nice. So it's an easy heal test. Keegan.
Okay, so 64, 74%. 33. That is a success. And I crit one at that.
Yes. Not only do you not suffer from debridement any longer, Calvin, you also move one step up the damage and peril condition tracks.
Hey.
Yeah, you feel much better. So, how many hours do we have to do this for?
No, 14.
Oh,
So
Yeah, I
is it possible for Calvin to dispel the magic of a critical failure?
no,
No.
it is not.
good question, but no.
We're 2 hours in.
Yeah, I think I agree with Osbert about the fire. I know Adam knows it won't do anything, but still, I think I agree with him about the fire, and what I would give for one of your nice cooked meals, Keegan. Warm my belly.
It's a nice thing that Collinsworth is the one setting the camp.
I would say Keegan's like, if you can get a fire going, I can whip up something, hopefully.
So yeah, I mean, since we're up,
Yeah. So you would have spent an hour preparing a fine meal with your
Yep.
ability. Cool. Okay. Go ahead and make a I think that you're pretty well supplied. But coming out of this, you may not be well supplied because you're making camp and you're preparing a fine meal. So everyone, you'll basically spend a day's worth of food for everybody. We're not tracking this. Remember, you have enough food to get there so far, unless you overextend yourself during your travels to the Anvil's Bridge. So right now you're fine. So go ahead and roll an easy survival test, Keegan.
Okay. So I
Get
have
that nice-
I would have a 70, but obviously I can't use my survival, so that's a 60.
do you need any help with that?
11. No, I don't.
No, you don't.
Everybody's healed. So everybody moves. What happens when they eat?
Okay, so let me get back to that. All right. So the ability that I have is called Feast or Famine. You can attempt a survival or tradecraft test to cook for others. If successful, a number of allies equal to your fellowship bonus moves up one step up the damage condition track positively and recover their peril condition track to unhindered, whether they're resting in a dangerous place or not. If your roll is a critical success, you affect a number of allies equal to 3 times your fellowship bonus instead. The character can only gain the benefits of this once per day, and it takes an hour to prepare.
It is a warm, tasty meal. And
21 people are how
Yeah.
many I'm feeding.
Yeah.
Which, all right.
You make too much.
you made too much food. No,
There's
you make
leftovers.
you make
Hobbs
just enough.
happily eats it.
You make
Nom,
just
nom,
enough. And it's now hour 3. So everybody's unhindered. And then you all proceed to suffer another 16 peril.
Whew.
All right, so I went up 1 because of the smelling salt, right? Or was that just Keegan that did that?
You went up 1 for the smelling salt, and everybody went to unhindered.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're all unhindered. no
Oh, I
matter
thought
what.
that was when you woke up.
No, it's
I'm resting.
Mm,
eat.
That's when I
Okay.
feed you.
Yeah,
Okay.
eat my food.
All right. So I
But
just go
I
down
just,
to the field.
while I was doing surgery, didn't want you still incapacitated and getting more frostbite.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was serving
Whoa.
to myself.
You're all huddled over this boiling cauldron, which is actually fitting given that Calvin has learned all kinds of crazy witchy spells. As he's perhaps the one stirring it. We don't know, right? But it's not yet midday here in the Horn Society in the coldest pass known to man as you prepare to go into Gwarhoth. And we've now moved to hour 4. And you all proceed to set fucking Christ, 14 peril on the 4th hour.
I would like to try to heal Osbert.
Osbert, what are you currently bandage up?
Yeah, I am currently seriously wounded.
Yeah, so if you look on page 252, it should have your, sorry, my apologies. It's on, I don't know where it's at. It's on 239, no, 240, sorry. Page 240 is where bind
I was gonna
wounds.
say, I thought I had a bookmark higher up. All right.
Da-da-da, you. That's the sound of the bandage opening, by the way.
Is there
Somehow
some
it's
weird-
tape.
It's duct tape.
Makes sense.
Last of Us.
And you're at grievously? Okay, so
No,
that's
I am at
challenge.
seriously.
Or seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's standard then. All right.
Nice.
Okay. $36, success.
What's your intelligence bonus?
6.
Nice. So you move 1 step positively.
Yep.
Because remember, whenever you use bind wounds, depending on your intelligence bonus, it'll cost somebody to go up further. So we're now in hour 5, and everyone from the magical Fire's Warmth ritual didn't work out so well. Everyone, fuck, I'm so sorry. 18 peril. I'm rolling these. I don't know what it is with these 2 green dice, but they're just, I mean, Nick's across the way from me. He can see it. It's bad.
The only survivor is going to be Tim's character because he wasn't here. Oh, and
Yeah, pretty
Osbert.
much.
And everybody dies. Sorry, we died of exposure. Awesome.
It's
What a way to end the campaign.
it's looking like it may be that way because I'm ignore 3.
Well, I mean, you
I'm
got to
at
admit, it's a
three
cool
as well.
ending.
Really?
Okay,
It's a cool ending.
it's good. It's
I
good.
know.
What a cold way to go. Hour 6. 19 peril.
I'm incapacitated.
I'm incapacitated.
Oh no, another 6 conflict. Oh my god. Okay, so it's getting really bad at this point. Obviously, you have not realizing, it wasn't anybody's fault, just the luck of the dice roll. Weather is really, really bad. And as you're incapacitated, it's time to start treating some frostbite. But I think you've already used your smelling salt for the day, and you've already eaten your food for the day.
Yep.
So we've got some. We're gonna start losing some fingers and toes. Oh God.
Can you not treat
I
frostbite?
can't.
You can
Treat.
try it, Osbert.
Yeah, you got a surgical
Yeah.
kit. You want to try?
Yeah, I'll try.
Who are you gonna treat first? Here's the thing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here's the bad part. It takes an hour to treat somebody from frostbite.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But let's see. Hold on a second. I double check something here. Sorry, I'm double checking the. I just want to make sure I'm not screwing anybody over here.
oh, we're all screwed over. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I was like, we're all dead.
I mean,
Well,
we're only
not-
like what, halfway through this thing?
Yeah.
Not even halfway. Oh yeah, you'll be on the 7th hour in a moment. So who do you want to treat first?
Keegan, I guess.
Keegan.
Is there? Well, so suspension of disbelief for just a second here. We have several NPCs in the party. Can they help
With healing?
with debridement or whatever?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Well,
I'm
I would
just
say
asking.
I would say I would say that Anjka, who's spent quite a bit of time in the wilderness, can probably lend an assist die. I think that's fair.
Okay.
So
I mean, technically, they're all dying too.
they are. Everybody's dying. So so who are you gonna heal for? Try to debride first.
Keegan.
Oh, Keegan. Okay. What's your current damage condition track, Keegan?
Unharmed.
Okay. So it's an easy heal test, and you'll also gain an assist die.
Okay. So my heal is 51, but it is not trained, so it is full.
Ooh.
Better than nothing.
Sweet.
Really.
So I rolled an 86, and let's get that assist die. This assist die is 2, so it's a 26, which turns into 62, which is a failure.
Oh, okay. So, which would you prefer to lose, Keegan? Toes or fingers?
Dealer's choice.
Oh God. Well, it's your character.
Well, I don't think the frostbite would let me choose.
Well,
Can you roll something
but
randomly?
to be clear, it's either toes or fingers, and I would like for you to choose. It's your character.
Roll a d20. Like positive 10 is fingers. Lower
D20s are disallowed in this game.
No, there's no D20.
and that way you know which finger you lose. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What's a D20?
I don't know, but I'm gonna pull one out.
You want left hand or right hand, Keegan, or left foot or right foot? Oh God.
Let's go with his left foot. Why not?
My left foot. Oh no. Okay.
Let's go with the toe. Let's go.
So go ahead and roll. Nick, roll 1d6 and subtract 1. Do not roll a 6.
Ooh, 3.
Okay, so you lose.
You have middle toe, right?
You,
3 toes.
So under permanent injuries, put missing 3 toes, and you permanently lose -1% to brawn for each. So it's -3% brawn now, permanently. Oof. And keep track of those toes, because should you ever lose them again, you could lose a foot.
Let's go. Oh, that put me at 31 brawn, guys. 31.
Oh God.
Sorry about those toe
Well,
veins.
Now here's the thing. You have suffered from frostbite. You can no longer recover steps on your damage condition and peril condition tracks by normal means. And we need to roll for the 7th hour. Everybody suffers. So sorry. 15 peril.
So what happens if you're already incapacitated and then you would move down the step again, Daniel?
You would move down step again. Well, that's actually for stress, fear, or terror.
Oh, okay.
In this case, guess what? If you're incapacitated and you suffer peril again, you suffer from frostbite again, because you can die from exposure.
Mhm.
So what happens now, Osbert? Your friends are slowly dying. Anybody else suffering from frostbite besides Keegan again? Oh God. Now we've got Collinsworth, Calvin, and Keegan.
Come on, guys. Right foot.
Do we go
Right
down,
foot, left
do we
stomp.
go back down the mountain? It's not going to get any better. Like, I guess I just continue treating everyone. Like, there's nothing else I can do.
Right.
So hold on a second. Let's edit the situation somehow. We got coins here.
Beard nuts.
Does anyone have any idea how they'd like to edit this?
I've been racking my brain. Yeah, I can't think of anything yet, but
Unless there's anything other than smelling salts that can fix peril, I don't know.
Can I open up Hobbs like a tauntaun and crawl inside? And then I'd be Calvin warm.
because this is quote unquote magical peril.
Yeah.
There's not really much we can do to stop because we can't dispel it.
I tell you what.
I mean,
If someone wants to spend a determination, like if Calvin wanted to, you could correct this entire.
What's determination? I have no idea what this determination
Oh,
is.
that's right. Calvin has 0 determination. Uh-oh.
Wait a minute. What's coffee do?
Coffee will move you from
It's movement. isn't it?
Yeah, move you from imperiled to unhindered, but it won't help you.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
once
No,
you're
it won't
suffering
help,
from
yeah.
frostbite, you cannot
Mm.
recover your damage or peril
Right.
condition.
Right.
You are dying.
So would the determination point get all of us, or do we have to have one per person?
I'm sorry?
Isn't it usually you have to have one per person to edit it, or would a determination point get all of us?
It would require one determination for one person to avoid losing more fingers and toes permanently.
Okay, if we were to do the determination point, would that
Allow you-
completely
allow you
cure
to
us
avoid-
of the spell effect?
I would allow you to avoid. I would allow that specific character to avoid any future risk from frostbite. In the same sense, you may escape death. You may escape frostbite. You may escape frostbite.
Okay, I'm gonna use my 3 determination points for everybody.
So okay, wow, that's a big sacrifice.
That's Keegan.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't-
I was willing to turn into Hobbs
Don't do it for me yet.
because I
So,
don't have any arms.
let's
Or...
be clear though, real quickly. Let's clarify. You
Okay.
don't just spend points when people are magically healed. Determination is a narrative. It's a mechanic, but it also has a narrative twist to it. So if you're going to spend 3 determination, I need you to take the reins as the game master and
Okay.
tell everybody what happens. You need to narrate it end to end.
Don't spend it for my character.
Oh, I don't have 4. I only have 3, so I'd have to be doing it for Collinsworth, Calvin, and Keegan.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
But you don't get affected by this, right? Not as much, at least.
not as much.
No.
So what happens?
Okay. So I would assume, since it's my determination, there has to be some action that was taken on the part of Keegan for this to actually happen. Like
Some
storyline
heroic
wise,
deed.
that would make the most sense. So at this point, I think let's go with this. Narratively.
Yeah, like we were reading a story. Narrate the story.
So Osbert, Osbert has come over at this point. He's trying to work on Keegan. He's trying to help warm Keegan up, and he has no idea, obviously, what he's doing from what Keegan has done. Maybe he just watched him and tried to do it. And as Keegan watches, once again, another part of his body is lost because he is missing an eye at this point. His toes fall to pieces off of his body, and he stares over at his 3 other companions that he's watching all of them slowly falling to pieces. So he pushes Osbert away and gets up. He walks over to Calvin and he pulls off every cloak that he has, grabs the fire. He starts making a smoke tent on him. And as he's trying to just warm him up past the point of frostbite, he looks him in the eye and he says, "You have to stop this, and you're the only one that can." And Calvin is slowly shivering to pieces as Keegan peels off, the dead skin that's falling off of his body at this point, and he slaps him across the face, looks at Calvin and goes, "It's yours, now do it." And Calvin proceeds to once again cast the spell and actually succeed at this point, through all desperation and through falling to pieces as Keegan attempts to assist him and deals with the backlash of it, having all of his determination drawn from his body as Calvin finally manages to pull the spell off and stop the suffering of his party.
Love it. Perfect. Bravo.
There
And,
you go.
and bravo to you for making such a serious sacrifice. How much determination do you have now?
0.
Oh no.
She's part of the 0 club.
Let's go, Calvin.
So literally on the 7th hour, this happens, and somehow the 3 of them inside this tent, they'll manage to survive.
I thought you were gonna wrap me up in a cloak and drop me in the cauldron like a baby Voldemort.
I debated it.
And because of the sacrifice, I think we're going to just simply assume that Calvin is in fact indeed able to cast the spell successfully. But unfortunately, the spell goes a bit haywire, perhaps because Keegan incants the words wrong, and it does not help Osbert whatsoever as it turns to the 8th hour. Osbert.
Dun, dun.
13.
Okay.
Peril.
All right.
Does this move us back to unhindered at this point?
Yeah.
I'm still missing my toes though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think I
fine.
ever actually got to lose toes.
That happens.
Sorry.
I wanted to lose fingers and toes.
I had the unnameable die in hand.
Look,
I was gonna figure out what I lost.
I'm a jealous person, and I'm the only one allowed to lose things. damn it.
Okay, okay.
It is the 8th hour. So you want to do anything before the 9th hour?
I can heal him again.
Heal who?
Oh wait, well I was gonna heal binds, but I can't.
Mm.
Bind wounds,
The only
but I
thing,
can't.
the only thing that can happen at this point is people that start downing laudanum.
I'll take smelling salts.
Okay.
So you break the ampule, gaining 1 conflict, and you manage to survive. The 9th hour comes around. Dark out now.
Wait, I have snuff. What does that do?
10 peril.
Okay.
Son, anybody want to do anything on the 10th hour?
What does snuff do again?
Look at that.
That's what I was trying to
Backdoor
look for.
stuff, 250.
250.
Makes you cool. Look, it gives you +10 to charm, intimidate, and rumor test.
Yeah.
But if you suffer from stress, fear, or terror, you smoke again. Or else gain an additional conflict. Yeah.
That is absolutely accurate. All right, I was just looking through my stuff. I don't really have anything else I can do.
10th
right now.
hour. Snuff up the snoot.
13 peril.
Right.
I have some opium. We can have fun while we're waiting.
11th hour. It's late at night, almost morning. 7 peril, the lowest I've rolled all night.
I didn't think it was possible for you. Roll below 10.
The 12th hour. 5 peril.
All right.
13th hour. There we go. Just kidding. 9 peril.
Okay.
And in the final hour, at the crack of dawn, in the midst of the Horn Society, 11 peril.
All right.
So the next morning,
Osbert's like, whatever.
Well, because
We're
I don't think you can suffer
dying.
from frostbite, right?
I can. I just
He ignores the first. You ignore the first level of peril, right?
yeah.
That's what I thought.
extreme. So the next morning comes, and you've all managed to survive the night, pushing through some severe cold here in the mountains at great risk to yourselves, and you will carry with you the sting of that fateful night. The fire's warmth just failed out. By the time you awaken in the morning, fire's warmth is gone. The spell is. We'll assume it's kind of gone. So everybody recovers to immediately. If you move to imperiled.
Okay.
Except for you, of course. You
Okay.
no, you recovered unhindered, don't you?
Huh?
Because didn't you ignore the effects of nature?
You always succeed at skill test to resist the effects of physical peril.
Ah, I see. Okay, yeah. So you'll recover. Everybody moves to imperiled the next morning.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone is. Ooh, it is a cold morning.
Mm-hmm.
You assess the situation. Assess.
I think, even if it's going to cut into our food stores, we should probably still prepare a nice, good meal to get us centered and back on the road again.
I agree.
I think Calvin and I can spare the rations.
You're gonna have to stay longer.
Stay longer. Okay.
Yeah, because remember you made camp.
I think we should get the hell off this mountain.
You're in the 5th hour whenever you had. whenever
Oh,
you
okay.
prepared
Gotcha.
Feast or famine.
All right.
That's
Then
how
let's
many hours? 17.
move on then.
You need to be here for another 5 hours
Okay.
where you can do it.
I can make something possibly later.
Let's
I think
just do
that might
that.
be the better idea.
Let's move on.
So
And I can
With
treat you
that-
at that time too.
you descend down from the mountain into Gwarhoth proper.
Thank the Mara and the Demiurge, we made it.
Never
The-
felt a cold like that.
If they can even reach that far. Strikes you as a little blasphemous saying that, but
Well,
nonetheless.
we are here, so they have some presence here. Isn't that the way the priests say? Is so long as there's belief, they have power?
I reckon.
Sure.
As you descend down the hill, you can make out what would be best described as a path, a road, so to speak, that was walked by your ancestors when they first came to Bahalma, which is the name of the continent that you're on. They traveled through Gwarhoth beyond the Horn Society and settled into what became Aglador and the Rovane Girdle. So you walked the path of your ancestors hundreds of years ago who came through here, and you're perhaps the first to return back toward what is commonly called the First Shore. And you kind of get this eerie feeling as you're kind of descending down the side of this twisting mountain path. And along the way, you can see these old stone graves. Rocks have been stacked atop one another and marked in ancient Ald, those who had died from exposure or had been carried while being injured and buried along the road. And this entire mountain path twists through the graves of God's knows how many people have died along here. You can see ancient stone carvings of the martyr that predate what you would recognize now as the Weeping Woman. That marks many of these old stone graves. They've been overturned and they fill a field as far as your eye can see between these low stone hills. It's clear that at one point the area you're passing through was perhaps even settled by your ancient Eridane ancestors.
Suppose
That's
you were right,
interesting.
Collinsworth, at least at some point. Who knows? As he kind of just pauses for a moment, looking over the grisly vista.
That's fascinating. I didn't know that there would be even any remnants.
Anjka kind of steps forward, her skin remarkably now even more gray in the dying shadow of daylight. The ancestors say, when the Eridane had settled along the side of the Horn Society, that they had been here for 5 to 10 years and had established a place they call Homlet. I suspect this is what this is. Homlet. As she looks around. You can see kind of what looks like the broken foundations of old buildings that have been stripped clean. No standing walls, just imagine like Grecian ruins, but no standing soaring pillars.
Mm-hmm.
Just broken walls of homes that were perhaps once here, buried, some half buried beneath the earth,
Mm-hmm.
some still kind of eking out above the ground, and marked by this vast, dark, black pine wood, pitch black as night its needles are. You can only imagine what the early Andalese who had settled here, or came here with mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, babies, grandparents, uncles and aunts that had survived somehow, trapped, unable perhaps even to get through Guarhoth until they discovered the pass. You can only imagine the fate that had befallen them here. You may even wonder if they ever even made it. You know that the Andalese came in several waves. Some remained behind to protect the others in their wake. Could this Hamlet be that last bastion against the Pictish? You're not sure, but you know that you stand in a place that is very ancient and old.
This takes me back to the time we passed through Moss Among Its Roots lair.
Ah,
All those bones, all those restless dead. But these here are resting. No stirring among them. I suppose it is pretty chilly up here, but you find the word chilly almost funny, how flippant he uses it. But you suppose we can take a moment to honor these dead? If it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Sure.
I suppose so.
Osbert just pauses for probably a good 10 minutes and just reflects on, the origin of the Eridane in this part of the world and such.
The stories you recall from the Libram was a campaign of war. If you were to see the story unfold across paper, you would see the great shapes, a shadow of an army, marching across a great unsullied land in a place that was always trapped in mist and cold. It seems like summer has never touched here. It's not snowing, but it is cold. The pages that the shadows erupt across turn to flame and fire. As the stories from the Libram of Messiah, the very first adherent, the first of the martyrs chosen, leading the people through the mountains, accompanied by a woman who had become known in latter days as Agravara Priam, who became the second priest of the martyr. You may recall this name from the Dunhollow Mystery, in fact. You also know that the steward's chief priest, Alatar, a warmonger, perished somewhere between Guarhoth and the Horn Society. You suspect that this was the place. But were it not for a man called Elorin, who was the chief priest of the Learner, they would have never made it through the pass. The stories tell that Elorin is the one who was able to intuit the way through. And from there, they went southward, beyond the Rukenval, settling beyond the Rushwood and the river, and eventually finding Eridane, or finding Aglador, or they would call Aglador, the second seat, as it translates directly into from Ancient Hold. The moment passes.
And then suddenly, Osbert pierces his palm, calling upon a dark power to guide their way for the remainder of the journey.
Oh, the affliction.
The Faustian bargain.
Appropriate, knowing what gods and demons.
We don't have the blessing of Elorin. We will take what we can get.
Fair point. So tapping into your affliction of Faustian bargain. Excuse me. We will go find out how this works. Okay. Attempt a secret test using resolve to plead to some dark power for an ability, favor, or power. So make a resolve test.
Okay. My chance to succeed is 51%. And I rolled a 6.
You want to keep that?
I'll keep it.
You feel this tugging, would be the best way to describe it. This preternatural magnetism that seems to draw you north. Like you can feel it in your gut, you can feel it in your heart, you can feel it in the bottom, the pit of your stomach. It is not a pleasant feeling. Imagine the worst heartburn you've ever had. Imagine the worst stomach ache. That is what you have bargained for. And it has taken something from you as you gain 9 conflict. But there's an additional cost that you must pay. And you and I will decide right now what that is.
Okay.
What is that cost that what are you willing to give?
What am I willing to
Of
give
yourself.
of myself?
Yes.
Okay.
To find the way north. To find the way to Dun Modra.
So when you say giving myself, is that just up for interpretation? Or
Yeah, it's up for interpretation.
okay. Let me take a look at what I've got.
Essentially, there is a bargaining happening right now between the dark power that he has called upon, whose name has not yet been revealed, and Osbert.
I will bleed myself for a little bit longer and move down 1 step on the damage condition track.
The dark power rejects that.
Okay.
Where did you move to?
Seriously wounded.
Okay. Roll 2d6 chaos dice.
There's a 6.
We'll see if this is an appropriate sacrifice. Roll percentiles. Actually, don't need to. Just need to go to what would work best here. We'll assume that you have a lacerated shoulder.
Okay.
You are bleeding. And you must be treated. You see Keegan immediately that Osbert begins to bleed profusely. The dark power says, not enough. Give me one of your memories. That will satisfy me.
Okay.
Give me one of your talents.
Oh, I see. All right then. I will give it forked tongue.
Okay. There's a piece of your memory. You can feel like a twinge of pain in the back of your head, and your vision blurs in your left eye, and that blurriness does not go away. It will restore in perhaps a few hours, but you've given up a memory. You will no longer possess the talent of forked tongue, nor can you gain it back. The dark power is pleased. The dark power you know as the Crouching One.
Do I hear any of this, or do I just see him all of a sudden start bleeding profusely and grabbing at his shoulder?
He just begins bleeding in his shoulder, and this is all happening internally. It's an internal turmoil that's happening at this point.
Gods, I thought I stopped that bleeding. And step over and bind him up.
What is your you must treat injury. So you bind him for free, so spend 1 bandage, and you'll need to treat his injury.
Okay.
Which current damage?
Seriously wounded. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So your chance to heal, just you know what the stats, you know what the rolls are.
Yeah, I'm bringing the page. I'm getting back to the page. Sorry, PDF's being slow.
Yeah. PDF speed. Roo. It should be
I blame Adobe.
Yeah, it should be
240.
240 something. 240. Yeah, 240. Sorry, 241. My apologies.
Yeah, I just know healing starts at 240.
Yeah, 241. So treat injury.
Mm,
He has one injury, so it's routine.
$24, I'll get it.
Nice. So you begin to recuperate. Roll 2d10 and add 2, if you will, Osbert.
16.
Yeah, it'll take 16 days to recuperate. While recuperating from a lacerated shoulder, you start your turn with 2 less AP. You witness this kind of strangeness with Osbert, and he turns to you with one eye completely, not just bloodshot, but pitch black. The white of his eye as well.
Are you all right? I mean, other than spontaneously busting into bleeding and...
Osbert motions with his good arm. You see what happened to them? They had the guidance of a Lorn. I call upon the powers, the gods of this land to guide us. I'm the only one here that has the means to sacrifice what he may. We will survive. We will survive. We'll survive.
Anshka leans into Collinsworth and says, "He's the devil in his eye." And we'll take a quick break here. For our listeners, we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. Or in the case of people who are listening or watching, it was like 1 second. We time traveled.
Whoosh.
So we know that Osbert made a Faustian bargain and sacrifice, and of course he now has the devil in his eye. So I'll mark that down. Osbert has the devil
It's definitely a distinguishing mark.
in his eye. Yeah. Yeah, change your distinguishing mark to devil in his eye. Has the devil in his eye. And you feel this intense kind of pulling to go north. So you will have to continue your overland travel.
This is the way.
This is the way. Literally.
This
Literally.
is the May.
Yay! You do have those giant elk, which is nice to ride on the back of. And you see a dark, impenetrable forest before you as you prepare to ride via elk back through Guarhov. And this leg of the trip is basically it's Guarhov to Dun Modra. So let me mark this down real quick. You know that Dun Modra is one of the foremost abandoned castle keeps of the Pictish, or would serve as a castle keep. You don't really know what to expect when you get there. You've not really inquired much on that whole business with anyone.
Well, at least it's warmer here, right? Than the mountain.
Yeah.
Aye, it's true.
By quite a bit.
All right. I'm getting my sheet ready here real quick so I can prepare everything. All right. You check your provisions. You ensure you have everything together, and you prepare to travel. Anything you wish to do before you embark upon overland travel again?
No, not me.
Yeah, I'm good.
You are provisioned, you are prepared, and you're ready to strike out. We will first need to choose the trailblazer, the guide to the journey, folklore or navigation.
I can sure give it a good old college try.
Mhm.
Huh, seems kind of like Osbert should do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know
Okay.
the book. Stand
Sure,
aside,
Osbert.
Calvin.
Yeah, no problem. I'll help somewhere else.
Okay. Next, we have our quartermaster. You'll be vigilant, you'll be watchful, you'll manage foodstuffs, provisions, track wildlife. You'll build fires, seeing to the camp's comfort. Who will be the quartermaster, healer, survival?
I'm thinking probably one of you two, because I think I'm going
can
to
do
have
it.
to do the scout.
I can. I don't care.
I got survival.
Or I can assist. It doesn't matter.
You should always assist, Keegan.
That's what I figured.
So it'll be Calvin, you'll be the quartermaster.
Yeah, Calvin will work as the quartermaster this time.
Calvin. Okay. And then finally, we need our scout. You'll track ahead, looking for signs of danger, set the watch, determine the safety perimeter, and ensure their hazards are avoided. This is stealth or awareness.
Yeah, that'll be me.
Okay, Collinsburg. All right.
Now, who needs the most assistance? Since I can only assist in one place, right?
Correct.
I'll be using stealth.
I have stealth. If you'd like, I can assist you.
I have a 52. With
He's gonna
base
assist the
chance.
scout.
Calvin, what do you have for your base chance?
Oh, for my survival, I have I will generally have a 56.
I'd say the survivalist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll assist Calvin.
Okay.
I don't think Osbert needs help. Well, Osbert needs help. I don't think he needs my help.
He's a special kind of help. Your trailblazer starts the journey. There'll be a challenging skill test.
Okay. And this is navigation or what?
Folklore or navigation.
Folklore or navigation. Okay.
And you'll get an assist die because you have the devil in your eye.
All right. Folklore is intelligence. So you said it was challenging?
Yes.
61% chance to succeed. It's 15. Yeah, 15.
Success. Well, the good thing is that Osbert is going to with his dark allegiance. He will actually make the road there, the path there, significantly easier, as future tests are now standard instead. Pretty nice. All right. You are only just a little bit of the way there. Everyone needs to immediately make a standard survival or toughness test to endure the road. You need not make one, of course, Osbert, because you do not suffer any penalties.
Okay. 60.
I failed.
You keep moving your legs, keep your eyes open, and you push through this dark forest over the next several days.
What did you say the difficulty was?
Standard.
Oh, okay. I made it.
What about you, Collinsworth? Oh, no.
Oh.
All right. Well, the terrain's still difficult as you suffer 9 peril. That brings us next in the middle of the journey for the quartermaster to see how well the provisions are keeping up, ensure everybody's eating their day's worth of provisions, not overextending. And remember, you've just enough supplies to get there. get to where you need to go to the Black Hinge. So our quartermaster will need to make a standard heal or survival test.
An assist.
Right. It's normally a 56. And I rolled a 36.
I rolled a 1 and an 8. So
All right.
either way, you succeeded.
Succeed.
Well, the good thing is over this entire trip, you'll only expend a day's worth of provision for each day of the trip for everybody, which is good. So I make sure that you're making certain that you're not going hungry by any means. But it is not easy to get to Dunmodra. You will all need to continue enduring the travel. So all of you need to attempt a standard survival or toughness test. Osborne, you don't need to.
Ooh, I critically succeeded. So
Nice.
22.
Succeed.
See.
Nice. You would normally just share your comfort with somebody else,
Mhm.
Calvin, but I'm actually going to move one of my coins back into your pool. So I have
Hey.
1 coin and you have 4.
Good.
And you were preparing to kind of finish the overland trek some number of days later, and you move through this dark, near impenetrable forest, and you've always had this kind of feeling that there's things in the periphery, there's sounds in this wood you haven't heard before. The whole place just feels very alien and otherworldly. This does not sound like any normal forest that you've been through. It just has this whole kind of inherent spookiness to it. It's always cast in these kind of grayish black colors. The sun doesn't really seem to penetrate the grounds here. It's always covered in like dying leaves. It feels much like autumn here, despite the fact that it's summer beyond Gorhov. So we need our scout to make a standard awareness or stealth test.
Oh, hang on. Sorry. My cable was slipping out of the old computer. All right. So standard stealth.
Yes.
Okay. 52 and a 20 will succeed.
Okay. Well, the good thing is that you feel that your watches are fairly effective. That Collinsburg, despite the fact that you're strangers in a strange land, in a world that is highly dangerous, one could say, you feel pretty confident that with the watch schedule that Collinsworth has set and your kind of eyes and ears for danger, that if something happens upon you, you won't have to jump, but with how you're traveling, you're moving through the places off the beaten path. You're moving through low dells in the forest. You're finding that you're moving more so often at night than during the day, just for extra precaution. And that will reduce the threat level, which is good because it was highly dangerous. It is not highly dangerous any longer. It is only moderately dangerous. So as the trip is drawing to a close, we need to see if there are any random encounters, and I will need Adam to roll 2d6 chaos dice.
There we go. Let's see if there are any 6s and 2 3s. So
Well, you continue pressing onward, and you feel pretty confident that you're going to make it to Dunmodra. You stop somewhere along the path, sometime between early morning and dusk, and you ignite your final fire. Your final fire until you know that you will come to Dunmodra. And the reason why you're growing close is because the forest has become far more sparse, and the forest almost turns to into low mesas. The forest breaks apart. It kind of gives way to these deep canyons and these stark gray canyons with these lines kind of up beside them that shows perhaps where the water was or whatever may have been through here over ages ago, as if some great glacier had carved these places millions of years ago, well before even the firstborn, the gods of the covenant, were alive during the primordial chaos of Bahama. You find your way into these low mesas. Imagine like middle of Arizona at night. There's vegetation that grows in places, despite the fact that it seems like there's two biomes are almost clashing together, like the deep, damp, tall pinewood forest that conflicts with the tall rising mesas of Guarhav. You feel confident, Osbert, that you're drawn near Dunmodra. You have seen at this point signs of people passing through. You have seen all manner of hoof prints from other beasts that wander around here. Just the night before, you could have sworn you'd seen these great shaggy beasts that would resemble oxen, but were all so far off in the distance you couldn't even begin to catch them. But the place is eerie and strange as you ready to bed down toward dusk, as you've been traveling during the evening, as Collinsworth has kind of set the travel to do so. What happens during when you set that last fire?
Journey is coming to an end. We're just about to jump Dunmodra. I just know it. We'll be there tomorrow.
Fantastic.
How can you be so sure?
Osbert closes his one good eye and looks directly at Collinsworth with the black one. I just know.
Collinsworth looks at him strange and just gets kind of quiet. A little uncomfortable and tense.
The few moments of silence is broken by the squeak of Kite and the yet unnamed snow-capped eagle that are slowly kind of encircling the encampment.
So, what are you gonna name that old bird?
I'm not sure.
You don't even know the sex of the thing, do you? Can you tell?
Oh, yeah. It is female.
We can always call it Big Bird.
Well,
That didn't start with the C.
well,
it
neither
doesn't
does
have to.
Hobbs. No. I mean, could call it Susie. You know.
Damn near tore my eyes out.
Yeah, this one, she doesn't seem to like Calvin very much. Or perhaps Calvin doesn't like her. I don't know. But, Calvin and Hobbs can go off by themselves and leave
Yeah.
Susie alone.
She's not holding any hard feelings against me, would you say? We had a little tussle, but, work out our differences.
Well, she has yet to let me know any of that.
No
She
problem.
probably wants to stay away, I would imagine. But she's been eyeing Calvin. If I could hold her on my arm, she would bait towards him.
I wonder if
given the
it's 'cause
chance.
sometimes I, fly up a little bit.
Maybe she's jealous.
I can go twice as high. It's in a book. I point to my grimoire.
You want me to just take a look?
Yes, just take a look. I've been telling you guys to learn this spell for so long.
I suppose that
You could fly so high you could read rainbows.
rainbows have woods on them.
I don't know. It's a dumb expression.
Hmm. Well, yeah. Perhaps Susanna or Susie. That'd be a good thing to call the eagle.
You look toward the sky, and dawn is not yet broken, but being so far north as you are, it almost looks like there is a river in the midst of the vault of night. So, with so many stars that gather at a certain circumference or a certain part azimuth of the sky, almost cutting through it, where it meets the vast red cloud of nearest bits of rock that float somewhere in the atmosphere where the blood moon once hung heavy in the sky. Now there's just like somebody took a pencil rubbing of red chalk and just kind of smudged the sky with it. It's always a perpetual red haze when you look toward the east, but the haze seems to move upon its own accord. Those who know more about the passage of the heavens would say that the world is somehow encircling it. And its opposite always is the mirror, the great, the one moon that remains around the world, large and large and round. It always hangs on the horizon, casting a great pale silver light across the world itself, mirroring the very surface of Mahama upon its own face. A dark reflection. From the maps that you have seen of Mahalma, of the continent, you can trace similar shapes as you kind of take your finger and pass it over, in the sky on the mirror. You can see the same lines as the continent mirrored upon it, but it is pale white and silver.
I've always wondered how they got a huge giant mirror up there.
Some mystery of the gods are left better unsaid, wouldn't you say?
Oh,
Oh, I know how,
Probably.
brother. It was a
Hmm.
miracle.
a mirror. Cold.
Oh God. Okay, mark that one. That's minus 50 reward points. That one, that's good.
I appreciate your sentiment.
Let's
leave it at that.
I think I am settled on the name. I also think I know the last name. Yes. Talons are like ducks. So we should call her Susie Duckins.
Pushing for that one, haven't you?
There's only one thing left to do then. Call her, see if she responds.
I call out, Susie.
Scream!
You hear the sound of a red-tailed hawk, despite the fact that it is not one.
Yeah.
You look toward the sky.
Got her soundboard mixed up. It's fine.
You look toward the sky to find her, and at first you don't see her at all. And the camera pans behind her. Kind of dive bombing down to the ground. Great wings raising upward, landing behind Collinsworth, and with its great claws kind of at his left. Its wings fold behind it, ruffling nervously until it comes to a rest. Its eyes kind of blink fast, looking back and forth toward all of you with its long, jagged beak.
I tossed the bird a discarded scrap from the night's dinner.
It slides across the dust, the dirt.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
See, to a bird like that, that's that food has gone bad.
Shows what I know about these things.
I'll get into the barrel of fish that I'm or whatever we're carrying with us to feed Hobbs, and I'll toss one at Susie.
Yeah, sure.
On a dog, I get it. Pray.
Really shouldn't be giving a dog cooked meat either.
Snow-Crested Eagles are touched by the gods, Anjika says as she approaches. She holds out her fingers like such, and you see as she kind of brings her fingers together like this, and the animal seems to lower its crown as if it was like literally bowing before her. She places a hand upon its head. So high they fly toward the heavens that the gods themselves have crowned them in white, she says.
Eagles touched the gods, and the eagle touched me. I've been touched by more than one piece of divine.
You
I
see,
feel so blessed.
You see, Collinsburg, that this is no magic. This is a mastery of animals of which you've never seen before. Every animal that comes before her simply bows as if she was their master.
Right. So, what is it that you do? I'm terribly curious.
Pectish folk magic, she says.
Is it something that is only limited to Picts, or is it something that one could aspire to?
Winters and winters of training. As a wee lass, I spent my time among the Eries of the Horn Society. Our people, or our clan in particular, lived among the Eries. We spent time with the Eagles. Each of the clans, including the ones at Dan Modra, at the Pectish, aligned themselves with, best to say, the spirit of an ancestor. The spirit of that ancestor is oftentimes reflected as what you may call an animal.
So, you're communing with the spirit?
It is, she says as she looks toward Susie Daggerton. What'd you call it? I'm sorry.
Susie Durkins.
Susie Durkins.
You ever need to look it up, but I mean,
I have no idea what Susie Durkins is.
I don't know either.
Do you know who Calvin and Hobbes are?
Yes.
the girl that teases Calvin the whole time.
Oh.
And it's also, yeah, he teases her back. Yeah.
Well, right, but it's his female nemesis.
I only know Calvin and Hobbes from this stupid sticker from Alcatraz.
Which is actually not Bill
Is that
Watterson's
why
work.
No, God no. He also gets really mad about
That's
it.
the glory of Anders McNeil. Rest assured. Yeah. So I had no idea. Anyway, I do not commune, she says. I suppose is a good word to say. I would not else know how to communicate, to say it in old, she says. But yes, I commune, I suppose, which would imply that eagles are a part of my blood as much as I am theirs.
That's
The creature raises its white crested head, and you can see it now. It looks like a crown of white up on the eagle's head.
Collinsworth, I guess you could just call her a bird hexpert.
Huh. Yes. With the Eridane people, we kind of have something similar, but not through the form of animals. It's through a ball made of crystal, and it usually requires holding hands with each other, and one person leads and can commune with the spirit. And like you can it's pretty obvious that Collinsworth believes this like 100%.
Yeah. She looks at the animal and Susie Daggers. God damn, what's her name?
Susie Durkins.
Susie
You could just say Susie.
Yes.
Susie. Susie makes a although Anjka does not say any words, she just kind of meets the eye line of the creature. The eyes kind of lock. It kind of squawks and makes a cooing sound.
Orc makes a
Like it's
chocobo
like
noise.
it's like
noise.
it's yeah, it's chocobo.
Quack, quack.
Like it's talking.
Well, if there's anything I can learn about it, I am fascinated.
Winters and winters of training, she says.
It's summer, isn't it?
I tell you what, Collinsworth, I don't want to spend many winters up here. I know I can take the cold, but it's a lot.
Yes, well, she'll just have to accept things as they are. So, I feel blessed with the gift I do have with animals and sort of the gift of gab, I guess, with them.
Gift of friendship, as he pats you on the back.
I don't think that we'll have to be too concerned about talking and contending with animals, Dane says, the dark coal beneath of his eyes and his shaved head as he kind of comes into the light of morning. There will be Pictish people at Danmodra.
Well, I don't know anything about what is polite in Pictish society.
He looks at Anjka. Anjka says, they like to kill us.
So the polite thing to do would be to die, but we can't do that. So I'm afraid that we may end up coming off as rude.
What exactly are we going to do when we get there? Dane inquires.
I look at
this
Osbert.
point that Dane is a rudderless ship. Anjka kind of keeps him righted, but even then, she is not a leader.
I'll follow my gut. I have a feeling I can track down Otrig and assist him. He'll know what to do next.
This is not the Black Henge. You told us you know how to get to here. That is further down the road. But what of this stone we must cross now?
Well, suppose we could skirt around Dunmodra and make our way, our way past, right?
That is not going to happen. Dunmodra, Anjka says, is the eldest of all hill forts among the Pictish, well before the Andalese came to the first shore. It is on the highest mesa, and from it you can see the Andals Bridge, a day away.
You don't suppose they would allow us passage with trade, would they?
Anjka kind of looks at everyone. What trade?
I don't know. It was just a thought. Perhaps we have something that they may need. I don't know.
Maybe they're bored. You could entertain them.
Something tells me the language barrier may be a problem, but I wouldn't be completely opposed to it.
Are we a Andalese traveling circus?
Consider the history of your people and the Pictish. Did you not see the signs leading here? I appreciate the levity, but that is not an answer. We not come here on a fool's errand.
Indeed, we came here to find Otrig.
Yes.
Well,
Do the Pictish not recognize that the Andalese have a history here too? Can we not just pass through and honor our own dead as well?
no, I think that our history involves crusading through them and lots and lots of violence.
Shows how much I know.
Then Anjka says, the days of it is passed down from our elders through stories about the coming of the Andalese. The Aradane, she corrects herself, of druids who were miters of metal and bore weapons that flashed with light, like lightning, she says. And when the Andalese came, they were born upon animals the world had not yet seen, that clattered and clanked like they were born from hell, she says. You would
Wait,
know
so-
them from the storm on the horizon. You would hear the Andalese and they would come, and then you'd see the flash of heavenly light from their bodies and their blades. And they all
So-
were miters of steel.
So the Andalese had wizards back then. I always thought that the first wizard was Walstanian. You know, like Osbert's a wizard with his wand.
She shrugs. The coming of the Aradane was marked in blood. The tribes of Guarhal scattered. So powerful were the druids of the Aradane. Tall and fair-skinned, unlike what we had seen, our people had seen ever.
Say, Dane, have you spread the rumors of the Nameless this far north?
Dane kind of rubs his thin beard. We have not traveled beyond the Horn Society for very good reasons. That Pictish are violent people. He looks at his wife.
Angika, do you think you could at least get us to speaking terms with them?
She says, I am no mediator, but I can translate, she says. The words would fall to you. She looks toward all of you.
Perhaps we could let you lead at first, you know, just to
She
make introductions, I
She
should say.
shakes her head. I am no mediator, she says. I was born very low, she says. My tribe is considered blood phallic, which I guess means outsider.
Well,
You can translate at least then, right?
She nods.
tend to be fairly proficient at negotiating sides.
So we
Is
have to go
Your
through
master
this.
tells you, Dane says, smiling.
He has before.
I mean, it doesn't have to just be the master. Right? But I suppose it is your call.
Dane looks at Anshka and Anshka looks at themselves.
So-
What?
So do we have to go through the city, or can we go around the mesa? Or is the idea that they'll see us from the mesa no matter what and then come chase us down?
Anshka says, the mesa is high across the valley. We will not pass by without being seen. We might as well go there.
But okay, because where was Otric's destination again? Remind me.
The Black
The Black
Henge.
Henge.
Black Hinge, and that's not here.
Further north.
It's
But
across.
okay.
It is it is east of the Andals Bridge, she says. We will not have to cross the Andals Bridge to get to it. Remember, the druids cannot cross the river.
So why do we not just give this place a wide berth?
They can see us from the mesa.
No, then they can chase us. We have elk.
Perhaps we could state that we're looking to escort this druid from their lands.
I'm just wondering why we are walking straight into the lion's den when we can go around it.
Because they'll chase us.
Well, then they chase us. Why walk into the mouth of a tiger?
I think what he's saying is he's trying to see if we can get away, rather than assuming that we won't.
I think the idea is there's no escaping it, so we may as well bust best foot forward. And
I mean,
if we're going to negotiate ourselves out of this situation, it pays to approach them in good faith.
sure. If that's how you want to do it.
You don't agree?
I mean, my track record thus far has been terrible. So let's go with your decisions.
All right then. It's settled then, right?
Yeah.
Collinsworth, Keegan.
Keegan just goes, sure.
Well, I mean, you can either try and run and hope that you make it and have poor negotiations, or you can try and have some better negotiations, but not have an option to run. If it was a one-way trip, I would side with Calvin and say we should try the running. But seeing as how we'll have to come back.
Dane begins cackling. What makes you think this is not a one-way trip?
Why aren't we going back?
Because I am destined to make it back.
Oh, well, it may very well be a one-way trip, yes, but you know, at least it's not supposed to be. We're planning on it being a, you know,
Right.
going.
Being able to go there and back again.
Mhm.
We have been sent on a mission that we are not expected to return from.
Then why did you go?
Goes to Anshka. We had no choice. You think that we are accepted? Even among the nameless?
That's silly.
Osborne
Is
shrugs.
it?
No, it's not silly. It's just not right.
We made a choice to handfast, which is forbidden in Aglador. The people of Sentinel Pine are Araday. They have been in the north for 10 years, but they do not forget.
What, do they require you to be married?
It's the union itself.
Oh,
Some wouldn't take kindly to such things.
yes, I know. Back at home, then I guess, okay, well,
The Grellsteaders are a very obstinate, stubborn people, he says. Anshka nods.
well, could we at least pretend that it'll be a two-way journey?
I would like for it to be so. He smiles.
It would make the better story.
Okay, yes, let's pretend. And since we're pretending, I would say you'd be welcome at Stonehope. But at least as far as my opinion is worth.
As positive and upbeat as you are, you see this look on Dane's face. You might as well be telling him that you're going to go live in the stars tomorrow morning. Like he smiles,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be nice, but it seems like impossible to him. His words carry a very grim portent.
Just believe for a moment in a happy ending. We'll make it happen.
You see, you two have chosen the right thing because I believe in a thing called love.
The rhythm I catch.
Yeah, just listen to the rhythm of the heart.
It is quite romantic.
There's the sun beating down.
I believe there was some sort of story about this
Well,
in one of the novels back down south. Romulus and Jane or some such. I can't remember.
as interesting as this story is, the longer we stand here staring towards this, the more possible it's someone sees us before we have a chance to introduce ourselves. Isn't that true?
You have made camp for the day,
Mm-hmm.
to be clear. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
sorry
didn't know
about
that. I thought we were
You
still
did, you
traveling.
did.
Oh.
Well, we've struck camp. It's not like we can unstrike it and recede into the darkness and hope they didn't see us. If they've seen us, they've seen us.
Well, if they've seen us, I'm going to go make food.
By all means. I won't be stopping you.
The great elk kind of make their bully bowl sounds that elk are ought to do.
Success.
I'm sorry, what?
Feast feast or famine. I was just cooking. Since we're having.
Oh, okay. I didn't even give you a difficulty rating. Please,
Oh,
please
sorry.
roll unless I give a DR real quick, guys. Just as a reminder. It'll be routine for you. What was your What'd you roll?
Oh, I rolled against standard. So, and I succeeded.
Okay, cool. So anybody who will eat this evening will go one step up the damage and peril condition tracks. So from here, we will draw a curtain over the scene, and we will resume next week with the trek to Dunmodra, however you decide to do that. Tim will be back next week too, so you have a chance to think about it, maybe reformulate your plan, maybe discuss in the open again what you want to do. But nonetheless, no time wasted, no conversation wasted.
I'd like Tim's input on what to do next.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we'll
We let him get through the tough part of the journey with that when he wasn't here.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. So
he didn't have any danger toes.
So danger toes. So,
Those
75
beaver toes. I was going for those toes.
So 75 reward points tonight. Man. Oh, those rolls. Jeez. Let's do our conflict roll. What do we have for conflict counts around the I bet they're high tonight.
Yeah.
7.
Only 13.
Keegan?
16.
Oh gosh. Osbert?
10.
Well, Osbert get one. The roll for tonight is 6.
Sweet.
Wait, is it meats or beats?
Meats.
Okay.
So if
So
you
I
meet,
get one of each.
Meet
Yeah.
manifesto.
well, no, if you meet, you gain a chaos rank.
Oh, meat. Okay, so then I get 2.
So
Yep, you get 2.
yeah.
Woo, I'm getting closer to that determination. You hear that?
Nice. Okay, so let's talk about tonight. Let's start first with Calvin.
Yeah, Calvin. I don't know. Like, Calvin's having some serious problems with his magics right now. Like, for the last couple weeks, it's just been really bad.
Yeah.
Several, I think, crit failures. So I don't know. He's just in a rut. So hopefully he pulls it off here in a clutch moment. But
Yeah.
I don't know. He's kind of struggling with that. He's okay, well, if my magic's not working, what else can I do? That the others can't, because we do share a lot of common skills and abilities. So yeah.
Yeah. More secrets to learn in that new grimoire, though, right? So
Yeah.
you can now access. Because we never really covered this.
No, you didn't tell me it was in the grimoire. We
No.
never really took a look at it.
You can now effectively access. You've already got access to black and white spell listings, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that was the one I didn't have.
Okay,
'Cause I
let's give you access to that now.
Okay. Yeah, because I had witchcraft, the regular stuff, and then I think that was the other one.
The
The
common
alchemical
spells,
arts.
witchcraft, and now the lesser keys of Solomon.
Yeah.
So Black Winds, Bridge of Realm, Changeling, Channel the Spirits, Contact the First Fallen, Damnation, Transfer Mind, Pollinite, Quake, Homunculus.
I mean, the only problem is I'm never going to get to advanced tier if I keep on spending all my money or all my RP.
Oh man,
I think
Yeah,
it's worth
right.
it.
Yeah, that's the tough part. I mean, yeah, we get lots of the intermediate tier spells are so powerful in this game.
Yeah.
Bridge of the Realm was teleport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Calvin blame this spell failure purely on himself or something else?
Yeah, I mean, he blames it on himself for trying to learn it in a day. He's like learning to fly. I think he took like 2 weeks to do just because we had the extra time to take the time. So
You weren't channeling power either.
I did not risk backlash. So
Backlash.
because
Risking it still wouldn't have helped.
now,
would
and
it?
then there's also a thing about the elementalist where normally if you take 6 or more corruption, you cannot cast spells.
Hmm.
That's bad.
That's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Has to remain balanced.
Well, generally it's because they also get to pick a couple seasons where they get to drop the amount of chaos dice they have to roll.
So
Uh,
conflict within a session or
Conflict in a session.
oh okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, within a session. So I wouldn't be able to
Keep your
cast
notes
magic. Yeah,
Yeah.
right now. Now that we've finished the session, I can try to cast magic again.
Yeah.
So that's something that has to be considered. But
Yeah.
if Dan can stop rolling like
I'm-
murder with those dice,
It's these two dice right here. I
yeah,
swear to God, like I was last week too. I was like, wow, that's the worst I've ever rolled for players. Like usually just boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we kind of got caught in that really bad cycle of that critical failure in that spell. I think really.
Mhm.
I mean, and who could have saw it coming? But
I mean,
not bad.
I thought 3 of us were dead. I was like, all right, pulling out my backup character.
I thought this was it. I was like, we're gonna die of exposure tonight. Oh my God!
Yeah, just
But
for everybody.
smart sacrifice on Keegan's part. Let's move back next to Keegan. 50 reward points, by the way.
New spell, you mean?
Oh, new spell. Keegan, what's going on?
I think, weird as this sounds, Keegan probably feels somewhat fulfilled. I think Keegan has somewhat of a martyr complex, and he knows he gave some of himself to be able to push the party to continue. So I think there's a part of him that's actually kind of happy with that right now, and he feels kind of confident because he's like, it worked. I did it. I did it, because that's Keegan in a nutshell. Is he's somewhat of a Labrador, and when he gets praise and does things well, he gets happy.
Yeah.
So I think that's also kind of part of what it is. As far as the toe, like, he lost some toes today, but making sure that no one else did is kind of his thing. So he's like, doesn't even really care that much, which is strange to think, but it's true.
So he considers it wasn't a total loss.
Total loss.
Well, I think that we talked a lot about
5.
this idea of Keegan being this like follower, but it's clear that Keegan tonight like took command of the situation, like a really bad situation. Like, I mean, you sacrificed 3 determination.
Yeah.
I mean, that has to promote some sort of sea change, I think, in your character, right?
I think to a certain extent he's a servant, but I think a lot of people assume that servant, or like people who follow other people, have like no strength and have no character or whatever of their own, but that's not the truth. They are people, they just don't want to be in front. And I think that's part of what Keegan is he just doesn't want to be in front. And You know, he wants somebody to tell him somewhat what to do, but he's still a person when it comes down to it, and he still has a personality and everything. It's just when it comes to action versus inaction, if somebody gives him an action, he's going to follow it. That if it's a person that's someone he trusts in a leadership position, and maybe not even necessarily trust, but someone who has enough persuasion to push him to do it, you know. And that's kind of what he is. But at the same time, him being that is useful because he will always be there to back up those, you know, that he considers his party or his group or whatever.
Yeah,
And so I think that's kind of where he's going at this point.
that's good. So 50 reward points. So next to Collinsworth.
Well, Collinsworth was really happy at first, you know, because he got the bird, and then when things turned for the worse, he just kind of sat there.
Froze up.
Yeah, he froze up. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Due to his laziness, that is a key word for his character, that he just kind of didn't really do much to help the situation. Sure, he was like thought of some smelling salts, but that's the easy way out too, you know. It's like so you know, particularly since it wasn't his smelling salts, so you know, that was him at his worst. And then once we got into a safer location, maybe not from the picks, but from, you know, the temperature, he started to really brighten up, and you know, leaned into his love, and you know, try and be positive. And that's when he heard about you know, the not accepting the hand fasting. You know, he kind of almost thought it was ridiculous that no one would, because love conquers all, you know, that sort of thing. So he's feeling really positive after coming out of that near-death experience with no personal consequences.
Yeah. Fair enough. 50 reward points. Yeah. It's if you take the sum of the whole parts, like it was kind of a great sacrifice that happened to find the eagle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel guilty? I'm just kidding. You should feel guilty.
Adam as a player feels a little guilty, but Collinsworth doesn't know.
Collinsworth has the alignment of lazy asshole.
I mean, yeah, love and laziness, yeah.
So finally, we move to Osbert.
So Osbert's flaw is deviant and his belief is destiny. I think this session was like a really good encapsulation of like the pull between those two things, those two extremes. Because you know, at the darkest moment where everyone was kind of clinging for dear life and just trying to survive, he kind of just like let everyone kind of suffer for a bit. He could have been calling on his Faustian bargain at that point. Honestly, me as a character, I forgot about it. But I think it kind of fits in with the story and the fact that he's a sick-minded individual that loves seeing torture and loves like to revel in it a bit. But then when it comes down to it, he doesn't want everyone to fail. So when it came to a point where we were losing the trail, that's when he pulls in the Faustian bargain, because it's our destiny to reach the location no matter what happens, no matter how many toes we have to lose. Other people's toes. But I think that, you know, that's kind of a messed up thing in his own mind that he had to deal with, and that kind of obviously contributed to the flaw rank he took tonight. But I definitely think it fits in with the character arc as a whole. That, you know, this is when he makes his sacrifice, when the mission is in danger, not when his friends are in danger.
Yeah, that's interesting. So 50 reward points. We'll see how that pans out. So we'll continue next week on Desperation Point. Thank you all for listening and watching. You're probably seeing this on YouTube. We've got this is I think this is now the 8th video in the can. So we'll be back next week on session 27, session 28. Sorry. Yeah, session 28 is next week.
Good game, guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
We will see you all next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good
And
night.
good luck. Good luck.